Minnesota Vikings. Last year they finished 14-3, second in the NFC North, and then the detrimental run at the end of the season where they put up 9 against the Detroit Lions to secure that first round bye, and gave up 31 points. And then in the wild card round, they went and lost to the LA Rams 27-9, which ultimately murdered Sam Darnold, and he's just not in Minnesota anymore. But those two losses obviously put the nail in the coffin for the time that Sam Darnold had left in Minnesota. But one thing that I wanted to point out is the only teams that they lost to this season were the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. So with that being said, before we hop into anything, one, obviously that was a bad way to end the season last year. But I want to have the JJ McCarthy conversation a little bit as well, because the only two teams that you lost to last year were the Detroit Lions, who are on an absolute tear. And on top of that, you lost to the LA Rams, who we obviously know they're a very well coached football team. There's nothing to hang your hat on if you go and lose to them. Why such a brash change at quarterback after so much success? And I know that I pointed out to you that they, during the offseason at the beginning of the year, that, or close to the end of the season last year, that they did the same thing with Case Keenum. Case Keenum won all these games for them, and then they went and moved on. But I felt like they really had something going here, and despite these losses at the end of the year, I felt that they should have probably brought Sam Darnold back, because it's such an unknown commodity what you have with JJ McCarthy, and the criticisms that are around a JJ McCarthy with his time in college. You obviously watched a ton of Michigan football as well. So I want to hear what you think about JJ McCarthy and what happened with the Vikings team close to the end of the year and Sam Darnold.
I think the luck of the Irish just kind of ran out for Sam Darnold. But then at the same time, they played two really good teams at the end of the season, and they lost to two really good teams. So maybe not as lucky as people would say, as I joked about, but going out losing to those two teams, maybe the on paper seeing that it's not as bad, but watching those games, it didn't look as pretty as it did throughout the rest of the season. So from that perspective, it wasn't as great. The JJ McCarthy situation, I don't know about signing Sam Darnold. I think he did a lot of pretty good things. Obviously, you have a good amount of success if you win 14 games. But I think it's hard to say this after going out and winning 14 games, but everything else around Sam Darnold was pretty perfect that season. They had a really good defense. The offensive line was solid, and they have a really great skill group. And they obviously have a great coaching staff. But it comes down to is like, what is the ceiling with Sam Darnold? Is it just a first round loss every year? It could be. We've seen Sam Darnold play realistically one really great full season of football in his NFL career. So I think there's a lot of unknowns. Is, can he do that this year? Can he do that for more than 1 year? Counter argument to that is there's a lot of unknowns about JJ McCarthy too. He really didn't have to do a ton at Michigan. That was arguably one of the best teams in college football. They had a phenomenal offensive line. They could run the football down your throat, and their defense was nasty.
Well, they were the best team in college football. They win the championship that year?
No. I'm saying like in the history of college football, like they are up there with one of the best teams like to ever win a chip. But he didn't have to do a ton. So the flashes that he showed back at Michigan, while they were really good, he didn't really have to go out there and ever throw for 350 yards. He never had to throw the football 45 times. Like, he was really, really good at what they asked him to do. He has pretty good measurables. I think he's like 6'3", but he's a little thinner. But could the ceiling be higher with a guy like that than Sam Darnold? And that's the real question. And that's not something that you're going to sit around and continue to wait and wait and wait after you drafted a guy in the first round the year prior. So it goes back to the rookie situation where you're going to have some guys to pay down the road. Probably is Sam Darnold a guy that you want to pay while you just drafted a rookie quarterback 2 years ago? Like, you want to see what you have in him, and it goes to
I
show that offensive coaching staff can really make lemonade out of dog shit with some of the quarterbacks that they've had. Um, so maybe the thought process is like, well, we think the base level of JJ McCarthy could be better than the base level of Sam Darnold, and we are a really good coaching staff. We can get him to a higher level than what we could get Sam Darnold to.
Yeah, I think the Sam Darnold like synopsis of everything is that they had that is a perfect scenario. He played amazing, 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, and they were a mid-level passing offense in the NFL. Like the 49ers had a better passing offense than them last year, and they were bones at the wide receiver position. So
Juwan Jennings was their number one wide receiver.
So if you're telling me that if somebody like Sam Darnold, who obviously had an amazing season last year, that's not what we're discussing here. We're talking about why they didn't bring him back. I think that's why they didn't bring him back. They knew that this was the best that they were probably going to get out of him. And at best, it's about league average. And that's a problem. Yeah. So having somebody as talented as like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, the O-line, the running back room, that's just not good enough. So they're probably sitting here thinking is like, we could probably get JJ McCarthy to play at league average realistically with
for a lot less money.
And for a lot less money, and maybe since he's young, we can figure out a way to elevate them. So I agree with you. That wasn't, I'm completely on your side on that. I think that they should have moved on from him. They obviously took a guy. They need to see what they have in him. And if it crashes and burns, then it crashes and burns. But the thought process, I feel like, is there right now. And I feel like it's a positive one.
Yeah. Especially too, because they did lose some key pieces along the offensive line. They're going to have to figure out ways, not obviously this offseason, but moving forward, like if the offensive line is an issue, at least they won't be handicapped by being stuck with Sam Darnold on an expensive contract and a decreased in talent offensive line. So I also think that McCarthy's a little bit more athletic. He can probably move around a little bit better than Sam Darnold. But I will say, like, if you're a Vikings fan, obviously the season didn't end the way that you were hoping, but going into the season with Sam Darnold as your quarterback, there's probably 3 people that expected them to have the amount of success that they did as far as winning football games goes.
Yeah, I didn't think that either. So shout out to them. So some stats. So obviously Sam Darnold played really well last season. We highlighted that. Justin Jefferson again with another great year. Sure, nobody's shocked on that. Minnesota had a top 5 in DVOA at the midseason mark, but down the stretch, like everything kind of started to wobble at a point. Like the defense started to not play as well. Even though that they had some good performances, but like looking at what the points that they gave up towards the end of the season, 31, 25, 24, 21, 22. They started to, like I said, wobble off towards the end of the year. Same with the defense or the offense as well. I mean, we highlighted the 2 9-point duds from them. Is there any other stats that you wanted to highlight against this? Obviously, this defense is the real deal. I mean, being able to have Flores get the most out of these guys has kind of been like the storyline that everybody says, like, oh, this scheme's so good. This scheme's so good. I do think that this defense is going to be really good next season as well. They added a bunch of guys that I don't see why it shouldn't be, but I don't have much to say about this team on either side of the football. They are very solid on both sides. I feel like that's a fact.
Yeah, I think
they're a good regular season team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will agree with you there. A couple things that I have is in field goal games, they were 5-1. 1-score games, they were 9-1, and their turnover margin was +12. So if you're taking care of the football, and you're good in one score games, then it tends to lean that you're going to end up winning a lot of football games, and that's what we saw from this Vikings team this year. So my question to you is maybe this can wait until the very end, like after we cover for 2025. So if you want to touch on who the additions and losses were.
Yeah, some storylines obviously that I wanted to go into about the 2024 season before we do that too is just the Darnold revival under Kevin O'Connell. Like I don't think like we said, nobody ever expected that. So shout out to Sam Darnold for figuring that out. He's a really good dude. So like shout out him. Justin Jefferson, obviously, he's still elite no matter who is at quarterback for him. Like he is just an absolute game breaker. Kind of some of the we talk about that our discourse around wide receiver is interesting when we have it because we talk about quarterback play like a lot, and I feel like Justin Jefferson is like that example of like it doesn't matter who Justin Jefferson's quarterback is, like he's gonna go and get his because he's that talented. So yeah,
he's had an interesting lineup of quarterbacks since he's played in the NFL. It's been like Sam Darnold. He had Josh Dobbs for a few games. There was another guy that Kirk Cousins, and then there was one other one that I'm thinking of that is just like basically at this point he's just had a string of. I mean, Kirk Cousins was a starter at the time, obviously, and started one other location after, but now he's a backup, but just not like mid to low quality quarterbacks since he's entered the league and is people's number one wide receiver. A lot of people's number one.
He's the best. Yeah. All right, let's get into the 2025 offseason. Some roster losses. Sam Darnold. Who do you have? I don't have anybody. I have Sam Darnold. Who am I missing here?
I've got Cam Bynum, Daniel Jones, Cam Robinson, Patrick Jones
Daniel
Jones.
Stephon
Gilmore, Shaquille Griffin, Nick Mullins. Oh, that was another one that he's had as a quarterback. Cam Akers. Those are probably the only like notable guys.
That's an interesting. Wait, read the top of the list again. There was a name and I forgot when you said
Sam Darnold, Cam Bynum, Daniel Jones, Cam Robinson, Patrick Jones II, Stephon Gilmore, Shaquille Griffin, Nick Mullins, Cam Akers.
The fact that Shaquille Griffin and Stephon Gilmore were on this team last year is crazy. Those guys are so old. When I hear
Griffin
that
is
list,
way older than I think too. I feel like Shaquille, like it legit feels like. I mean, we're old as hell now, but it legit feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday. 16. It feels like yesterday when Shaquille and his brother. I'm drawing a blank on his brother's name.
I don't know if he has
with what. Dude, his brother's the guy with one hand.
Oh, bro, I'm thinking of Shaq Barrett.
Oh, Shaq Barrett, quarterback.
No, what?
Shaq. The defensive lineman for the Bucks. Yeah, he used to play for the Bucks.
Dude, you are high. All right,
you didn't even remember the Griffins.
So they lost. So they did lose. So Cam Bynum, obviously in the secondary, they lost. They lose Stephon Gilmore in the secondary, and they lose Shaquille Barrett in the secondary as well.
Shaquille
Griffin. And I'm looking at their secondary that they have currently: Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith's old ass, Byron Murphy Jr., and Mekhi Blackman. I know that we get a little out of a lot, but when I just look at this secondary on paper, this secondary is pretty weak. Obviously, you had Isaiah Rodgers on the Eagles last year. What do you think about him being like your starting corner, like your guy that you?
He might be their number one corner.
I think Byron Murphy probably would be, but
they have him listed as a slot here. What I'm looking at, but like yes,
probably. Where are you looking at?
I'm looking on the Warren Sharp football preview. They have Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, and Byron Murphy, but they have Byron Murphy in the slot.
That's interesting. I see him as I see Mekhi Blackman as their nickel. That's what I'm seeing on.
Yes, I agree with you that Byron Murphy is their number one, but I thought Isaiah Rodgers was good in this short amount of time that he played. like the small amount of opportunities that he got to play in Philly. Um, who knows what it looks like stacked up over an entire season. So obviously there's questions there with that. He hasn't played a legitimate full NFL season in a few years because of the suspension. So I think there's probably some room for caution there.
UMass's finest.
UMass's finest. And then Jeff Okuda, it's just he's probably the third string at this point, I assume. He's just not good anymore.
Yeah, I mean he stinks. Sorry, I was thrown off by what you just said. Yeah, I mean Jeff Okuda's terrible. You see the video of Stefan Diggs burning him in camp? It was like bad.
Yeah, he should have ran to the parking lot.
Yeah. All right, to keep going, some additions that they made: Ryan Kelly at center, Will Fries at guard, Fries, corner Isaiah Rodgers, corner Tavarius Thomas, Javon Hargrave at D tackle, Jonathan Allen at D tackle, and then Justin Skull at tackle as well. And then they've re-signed Aaron Jones Sr. And then a sneaky move that they did was trade for Jordan Mason, who had that pop year last year for the San Francisco 49ers. I just feel like he's a good piece in this backfield to just have behind Aaron Jones and supplement him in as needed. I think that he'll probably get a decent amount of tick.
Yeah, I really like the skill positions here in Minnesota. I like the Ryan Kelly and the Will Fries addition on the offensive line because I believe they did lose a center and two guards, or at least 2 to 3 other starting linemen. So replacing those guys is going to be really important. They were one of the best offensive lines as far as pass protection last year. So that'll be really interesting, especially when you're starting. I know he's not a rookie, but his first full season playing quarterback for your team, that'll be something to keep an eye out on. But in the draft, they did address offensive line as well, taking Donovan Jackson out of OSU. And then I could just rattle off some of these other guys. They took
2025 draft. Go ahead.
Yeah, they took Ty Felton out of Maryland, defensive end Tyron Ingram Dawkins out of Georgia, linebacker Kobe King out of Penn State, and tight end Gavin Bartholomew out of Pitt. So I like Donovan Jackson. I think he'll be solid in years to come at guard for them. But for now, a lot of new faces on the offensive line.
Yeah, I this offseason for them, like it feels weird because this offseason for them, I just feel like is very positive. Like this team it feels like, other than we kind of touched on it with the secondary, but we'll give the benefit of the doubt for what the defense could do just based off of history at this point. This defense over the last 2 years with Flores at the helm has been able to do a lot with a little. So it's like, okay, we'll give them a pass for that. We've seen stacked up proof that they can figure it out. So I'm going to say that they can figure it out. And it feels like that this is just a very solid, like, off season all around. They get that O-line like fully shored up. I don't know if Christian Darrisaw will be back for the season or not. That obviously matters, but I would be a lot higher on this team, I feel like, if they ran it back with Sam Darnold. I'm just super hesitant with JJ McCarthy. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was going to be the question that I asked you at the beginning of this, is like, we know what their win total's at, but what is a realistic expectation for, I'm just going to say rookie, because this is obviously his first year. Like, what's a realistic expectations for a JJ McCarthy rookie season? Because after winning, what did they win? 14 games last year. They are going to be, that fan base is like, holy shit, we just had a great year out of nowhere. Like, why can't we have a lot of the same guys coming back? We have a really good coaching staff on both sides of the football. Like, expectations are probably relatively high in Minnesota, right? And for you to come out there with
feel
a rookie,
like it. Doesn't
I feel like they should.
Like it.
Really? I mean, I don't know. Minnesota fans chime in.
Is anybody talking about the Minnesota Vikings really, about like what the possibility could be?
I'm not talking about like the media. I'm trying to put myself like in a fan perspective of like, oh, we just won all these games last year. I like what we have on both sides of the football. It's a matter of, what can we expect a rookie quarterback to go out here and do? If he can go out there and just kind of be a game manager, then I think they have a chance to win a decent amount of football games. But him being a game manager in the NFL is a little different than being a game manager back at Michigan.
I think that really, so let's just go on the Vegas win total. That's more for the preview, but that I'm going to say. So Vegas win total right now, 8.5 wins, 9.5 some places, but it sounds like they are obviously like a regression candidate majorly. It seems like everybody's kind of down on them going into the season. To win the NFC North, they're plus 350 conference. They're 11 to 1 to win the NFC, and then plus 3,000 to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I like the more and more I'm thinking about like what could possibly be like with this division is like the more I think that like I like the Vikings in the spot to kind of be that team to keep a little bit more of a consistent play across the board. I think we went over this in the Packers episode. I think the Packers are going to win this division. I just think that they are the far superior team in that division, both offensively and defensively, and they're bringing everyone back on both sides of the football and coaching staff. Then we're sitting here talking about the Vikings, who are in a very similar boat to that, loaded up on more talent on defense, loaded up on veteran talent, filled in some holes on their roster. The only person that they really lost is Sam Darnold, who, if you really ask anybody, like, I don't think that Sam Darnold is the answer long term anywhere. Like, I think he's going to stink in Seattle this season. Yeah. So why shouldn't I be high on this Vikings team when have question marks about the Lions and all of the changes and the revolving door that's going on in there? And then I don't trust the Chicago Bears literally in any way, shape, or form. So I like the over, honestly, with this team, like as we go over this.
See, I am battling that because of how unknown things are with JJ McCarthy. But what I keep going back to is like this offensive coaching staff and defensive coaching staff has done just such a great job with doing more with less. I mean, we already talked about the list of quarterbacks that the Vikings have had the past couple of years and sort of what they've been able to do with those guys. And then Brian Flores has been a magician as a defensive coordinator since he got there. I'm just really unsure about JJ McCarthy. Like, if I would have had if we would have seen a little bit more from him in college, I'd feel like a lot better about it. I realistically think that there will probably be some growing pains. I think this is probably a 7-win team. Just because of the uncertainty that I have with JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just to go into their 2025 season a little bit more. They open in prime time week 1 at the Bears Monday. Wait, do they?
Yeah, they do. Monday night football.
And then they have
Sunday night football
at week 2 with the Falcons.
Yeah.
That's not Monday night football again?
I'm seeing Sunday night.
Okay. So whatever.
I'm seeing Monday night football with the Bears, Sunday night football with Atlanta, Cincinnati, and then back-to-back international games with the Steelers and the Browns.
Nice. Rest edges, 2 early Monday games. That kind of like mini buys, like as people usually say. The Ireland trip around the week 4 window, and you said that they're over there for what, two weeks?
Yeah,
and then they have their bye week right after that. So I don't hate that start of the season for them, honestly, like at all. It seems like obviously they have some primetime games, but you're sitting here telling me like it's against Chicago. I just got done saying I don't like Chicago. Atlanta is maybe should be the most untrustworthy team in the entire NFL at this point. Cincinnati has question marks about their defense. Pittsburgh, I mean, that game I feel like could go either way because of who the Pittsburgh Steelers are. I don't like them that much. And then week 5, they have the Cleveland Browns, who I think could be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, there should be no reason why they don't come out of that stretch going into the bye with a winning record.
Yeah, I think there's 3 winnable games there at least, out of those first 5. But the the beginning of the season isn't necessarily where it's tough. Once they get past the bye, they've got Philly, the Chargers, the Lions, the Ravens, and then the Bears, and then the Packers. So like that middle portion of their season is
I mean,
really
keep
where
going.
it gets
Seattle,
tough. Yeah.
Washington, Dallas, New York, Detroit, and Green Bay again. I mean, yeah, I mean, the back half of their schedule's definitely loaded, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe they can turn it up in the back half of the season. But yeah, that's a rough stretch.
I will say though that something that's probably really important is they have those first 5 games against manageable teams. I would say that could be huge for just like the progression of JJ McCarthy as the season goes on. If he goes and gets
Fair point.
a few wins under his belt, and then hey, I've never been a fan of an early bye, but this could end up being like
you're like fuck. I have no idea.
I know why. I'd rather have a bye like week 12 or 13, so I have like a week off to kind of rest up before you go on like a little bit of a run, hopefully. But what I was gonna say is, as a rookie quarterback, it might not be the worst thing because you have those 5 games to get those under your belt. And then you have that week off where it's like, okay, we get to go in and we get to evaluate what happened here, that we did well, what we need to work on. It just sucks that you end up going into like a fucking gauntlet the next 6 games.
That's fair. Let's get into our predictions, honestly, at this point. Sitting here talking about it, gut feeling, not going to think about it too much. I think they win 10 games. I'm down on the Lions. I'm still down on the Chicago Bears. I think this team could easily finish second in the NFC North. Still, potentially, I mean, if they win 10, be a wild card contender again. But I don't know if I believe that they're a type of team that could do real damage in the playoffs until they prove it. Because even when you go back to like that Kirk Cousins year, when they won all those close games and they came back against Buffalo, and you get into the Kirk Cousins versus Daniel Jones playoff game, and the Giants go and win that playoff game. Yeah. And it was like that was a little fraudulent. And then obviously like they had maybe like a little bit of some down years because of injuries and stuff. But then the comeback last season, go on a tear, and then when it matters most, kind of fizzled out again. So I like this team. I'm just hesitant on what they could do like on a postseason run. But I think at this point they're proven to be a great regular season team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like a great counterpoint to anything that you said. My biggest concern is just, what does JJ McCarthy look like?
Do you like any of the teams? I mean, obviously the Lions would be like an easy like answer like to this, but the Lions won 15 games last year. They won 14 games. Like, it feels like they're both going to take a step back. Like, are there teams that you like more in this division? Like, do you like the Bears more than the Vikings?
I think I do. Yeah, but it's a small amount. Maybe 1 or 2 games more, probably.
Wow.
But nothing substantial.
I will definitely say I don't know. I just think the Bears are going to stink. So I definitely disagree with that. I feel like the Lions and the Vikings at this point are just like a toss up to me. That's the way I'm looking at the divisions, like Packers and then Bears at the bottom, and then Lions and Vikings in like a toss up. And it might come down to health. It might come down to whatever, but I think both of those teams might be like pretty evenly matched across the board, just based on how it went last season, honestly.
I mean, this division is just going to be a gauntlet for the foreseeable future, with the coaches and the talent that are on, in my opinion, 4 of the teams, but your opinion, 3 of the teams. But like, either way, I think there's good coaches, and
we have to pump the brakes on the Bears until they prove it. That's what I think we should me and you should have like a mutual agreement because last year, like I was really high on the
we were
Bears.
juiced.
I was super high on the Bears. You like the Bears, and then they like fell dumb flat. And the Bears fans were like, Eberflus is the best, like blah blah blah. Like I have the receipts still, and we're like in that same point right now with this team. Not saying that they're going to be like terrible, but like I need to watch something positive happen. I need to watch them go on a run. That I don't think that we can sit here and be like, yep, I like the Bears compared to teams who won 14, 15 games last season, who were at the top of the league in offense and defense last season, and then just added talent on both sides of the football. I just feel like that's like I feel like that's irresponsible.
I mean, me saying that I like the Bears is not me saying that I think they're a lock to be a playoff team or a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Like my version of liking the Bears is like they probably win a game or two more than they did last year. I'm not ready to like take the full-fledged, yeah, this is going to be a team that wins the division.
I'm just doing an accountability check, that's all.
Right hand up.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But like I said, my whole concern for this Vikings team is just JJ McCarthy. And there's a scenario where they win 7 games, and there's a scenario where he could be fucking Jaden Daniels-esque and they win 13 games again, 14 games. I really think the gap is that wide because of just how good the rest of this team should be.
So what's your prediction for them this season?
I just have to go with 7-10 as of right now. I'm putting my flag on 7-10 just because of the unknown around JJ McCarthy. I watched too much of him at Michigan for me to be like, yeah, this kid's going to be the next guy. So I don't know enough about how he translates to an NFL level. So
I think he would have to be a real train wreck for them to win 7 games. Like bad.
I think there's a world where it could be worse than that.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like for them to be in that category of like not being at like the 500 mark, like I think then at that point you should hedge your bet and have them win like 4 or 5 games. Because that's what it would be. It would be like if he's that bad, like then it's gonna get bad.
But see, the thing is like when we say that bad, I'm thinking of like Sam Howell's their backup actually, which I don't necessarily hate.
What?
There's worse backups, I think.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, they brought in Josh Dobbs and won 3 out of 4 games.
Who's better, Tanner McKee or Sam Howell?
Sam Howell.
Okay. Remember when you told me that Tanner McKee could start on 5 teams in the NFL?
I think Sam Howell could too.
No, he could. He would be starting. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this at all. I'm literally not.
Thank you, because I don't want to either. Okay, so it sounds like we've set our predictions in stone. Do you have any bets that you like?
No.
Not a single one.
Not a single one. I just wouldn't bet on this team. Like, I wouldn't bet any of their futures. I wouldn't bet any. I'm not betting Justin Jefferson to have like 1,400 receiving yards at -110. Like, there's just no value. Probably. I don't know exactly, but that sounds right. I just don't think that there's much value. I mean, unless if you think this team can win the division, then sure, like there's value there at +300. Yeah. But I don't love any bets like on this team like at all.
So you're telling me that you don't like Andrew Van Ginkel to win Defensive Player of the Year at +8,500?
No, I don't. Not at all.
Also, something to keep in mind is like, say if you actually think that the Vikings are going to win 10 games, you could bet on him to win. You could bet on JJ McCarthy to win Comeback Player of the Year at +850.
Not bad.
Because if they win 10 games,
he considered a rookie?
Probably has. I don't.
Is
I
it like the
don't know.
Is it like the NBA?
No, there is a comeback player of the year line and he
Okay.
is under it. He's on it.
Okay, I like that.
So something to consider.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stash.